What's up, guys? M. Jones back in the house again for a November 9th Blu-ray update. Today I have a special guest with me, my main man Jim Bob.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening.
Wow, what a gentleman. Today we're going to talk about a whole bunch of different genres, a whole bunch of different decades, and very excited to talk. So let's get started. First movie I want to talk about, alphabetized as always, is A Fish Called Wanda. I got this movie really dirt cheap on Amazon. I remember I always thought this movie would be ridiculous just because the name title, A Fish Called Wanda, I'm like, what the shit's this? But I actually did watch it and laughed every part of my ass off. I thought this movie was so good. Really loved Kevin Kline's character. He was just an absolute dickbag, but like just such a cool part in the movie. He was just a complete schemer and just the man as a thief. And how Jamie Lee Curtis was very sly and coy, and she was really good in the movie. And also the very famous John Cleese. You know, he's like UK's unwritten president, and he was just such like a, I don't know, just your typical guy that just is so fed up with his life and has just a little crazy, whatever for a few weeks with Jamie Lee Curtis. But how Kevin Kline is in this movie, I'm pretty sure, if I have this right, yeah, Kevin Kline, he won an Oscar for his role. He was so cool in the movie. Pretty sure it was a supporting actor nod that he got. And just a great movie. And it's very funny. And this guy, I never even really heard of, right here, Michael Palin. You got me. I don't know much about him.
I was going to say that. I mean, this movie has a lot of big names, and then you have that guy right there.
Yeah, and it's like, here's the thing. I don't know what this guy even looks like. The fact that he's now covering one eye, I really don't know what he looks like. Never really have heard of him. But just a very funny movie. The next one. My main man Jim Bob's going to tell you about this one. American Gangster.
All right, American Gangster, classic starring Denzel Washington, and I believe, was it Russell Crowe?
Yeah,
Russell Crowe.
He's that cop.
Yeah, he's the cop in the movie and the antagonist to Denzel Washington's character, which I believe is Frank Thomas.
Yes, Frank something like that. Yeah,
Frank Lucas. Excuse me.
Lucas.
Yes, yeah. And pretty much Denzel Washington. It's a true story, by the way, which always love these movies. He's just a down low guy trying to make a living, and he just becomes the top gangster, the Godfather per se.
Bad MF.
Yeah, I remember one point in this movie he just walks out in the middle of the street and just shoots someone in front of everyone.
I was just going to bring that up, and the fact that he just did that just because so people would know how much of a badass he is, it's like, dog, you just took someone's life to prove a point. And it's pretty cool.
And the fact that it's a true story, after I see a movie that's true, I always go back. I always go and read up on the real person and see how well it was done with the actual actors and just how real the story was.
Right.
And they were pretty dead on with this one.
Right. I'm going to bring up a point about this movie. How do you feel about Russell Crowe, honestly, right now? What do you think
as an actor?
Go ahead. Don't think.
I just don't know what to think.
I don't like him. Yeah. I don't know. I don't like every character is just. And the fact that he's Australian and he does this New York accent, he goes, larceny, racketeering. It's like, oh God, it's like, shut up, you. Oh,
and then he does musicals like Les Miserables.
Yeah,
like I'm so sick of him.
The worst voice in the world, and you're Robin Hood, which might have just ruined the whole beautiful story of Robin Hood. That was awful.
Agreed.
But him in this movie with his New York accent, it was very laughable. Great. Rocco's pissing on my carpet right now. Anywho, my dog. Just don't like Russell Crowe in this. It's just the racketeering, the way he says that, just shoot me.
But Denzel Washington, dead on.
The man. Next one we're going to talk about, just a classic from the 80s. Jim Bob was just telling me that they might make a remake of it.
A sequel, I heard.
A sequel,
yeah.
Excuse me, sequel. That'd be really cool. Hopefully with Michael Keaton himself.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice. I mean, it's very cheap to get. Please get it. You can get it at Best Buy for like $4.99. You find it in the real cheap bin. It's worth it. It's a classic. Gina Davis. I found her very hot when I was a kid in that movie, in League of Their Own.
Alec Baldwin.
Early Alec Baldwin. Sorry about that. Early Alec Baldwin. And what can you say about this movie?
I mean, it's just a classic. I mean, I know when I was very young when it came out, and they actually had a cartoon after it, and that's how I first knew about Beetlejuice. And then when I got a little older, I watched the movie, and I mean, it's just one of those cult classic favorites. That,
right.
I mean, either you hate it or you love it.
Right.
I mean, there's no in between with
right.
this.
And I remember when I was a little boy, I remember my mom telling me, and I completely fought her on this, that Beetlejuice, the person who played Beetlejuice, also played Batman. I'm like, you're full of shit. There's no way. This guy Beetlejuice has too much hair. And then I realized, wow, makeup and wigs, that can happen, which I just was so just shocked about. But I did not know Michael Keaton was Beetlejuice and Batman. That spun me for a loop. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he does such a good job in this role.
It's great, Michael Keaton, and he's from Pennsylvania.
Dead sleazebag in this movie.
It might be where we're from. So, the next movie, we're going from just goofy fantasy comedy to just a straight-up drama action. You know, Behind Enemy Lines. What can you say about it?
Great movie.
Great movie.
I remember this came out in like 2000, 2001.
Right.
And this was one of like the first, for me, first one of real war movies that I actually watched.
Right.
I believe this is kind of based off a true story as well. But it's kind of falsified back and forth.
I'm sure it's very Hollywood or dramatized, whatever you want to say.
It stars Owen Wilson in an actual serious role, which is weird for him.
Which I wasn't big on with him as serious. I couldn't take. It's like John C. Reilly being serious. Just
exactly.
Don't do it.
And Gene Hackman, and pretty much Owen Wilson. He's in the Army or Air Force or something.
I think Air Force because they fly, don't they?
Yeah, they fly. So they're flying in planes. And it's just a regular routine, flyby, and they go in restricted airspace.
No, he's a U.S. Navy pilot. I'm sorry. He's a U.S. Navy pilot.
Okay, well, he's a U.S. Navy pilot, and he's in restricted airspace in Bosnia, and they have to eject because they get fired upon.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's pretty much just behind enemy lines, and he is on the ground trying to get out of, enemy territory, and they're trying to bring him home, and he just goes through all this crazy shit during it.
I remember in the beginning, like his part. I mean, this isn't too much of a spoiler alert, but his partner, his flying buddy, like just dies, and it's kind of shocking how he dies because you get to know him quick, and you're thinking, well, this guy might be legit for this movie. He's dead in like 15 minutes. Of the movie.
Right so when they get on the ground.
Yeah, so then you're like, oh, okay, well that sucks. You're definitely by yourself right now in Bosnia, which is not United States of America. So it was kind of like, holy shit, this movie got serious quick because they're kind of joking with each other, talking about families. Next thing you know, one's dead and the other guy's panicking.
Almost like a Top Gun type deal.
You're like, okay, so this movie's serious. So, great movie, though. And Gene Hackman, always at his best. Oh, yeah. Love Gene Hackman. And it's a shame you don't see him much in movies anymore. Just like Sean Connery. These guys, they're ancient, but they're so good. And everything they're in, I stop what I'm doing and I watch. So, I wish Gene would come back to the screen. I just rhymed. The next movie, one of my favorites. I remember seeing this movie in the theaters with my aunt and uncle. And I'm pretty sure I probably would not be allowed to if my parents knew about that. This movie, I'm pretty sure, holds the record for most F words. I know it's in the top 5. I think it's like 142 F words. Casino. Absolute great movie. It's just the main story. It's just about Robert De Niro. He's like sort of with the mob, and he kind of, he owns the casino that he works at. He's like general manager or owner or whatever. And it's based in like Las Vegas in the early 70s, and I believe like 1973 to be accurate. And, just so much stuff happens on how the mob and the casinos work hand in hand, how they're enemies, how they're friends, how it all kind of work and intertwines, and how he brings his buddy Joe Pesci into the movie, and he's just, he's just pompous and crazy and just volatile as hell. And, all these things happen, and, Robert De Niro meets Sharon Stone, and she's just a coked out slut who still loves her pimp, and he can't break through that. And it's just, the whole movie's really good. It's a long movie, though. It's a very long movie. And some of the death scenes are very graphic and just very hard to watch. There might be a pretty well-known actor in this movie that gets just a vicious death scene. Just a vicious death scene. And it happened to be in the crop fields in Las Vegas somewhere. I'm sure if you've seen it, I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. It's a brutal death scene. But just a really good movie. The acting's pristine. Sharon Stone, great in the movie. Joe Pesci, great in the movie. Robert De Niro, always great.
A lot of great actors. Again, like that's an A team right there.
Yeah, and James Woods is the pimp, former pimp to Sharon Stone, and he's I hate him in the movie, but he did such a good job acting that it was worth hating him because he did that well. So it was just a great movie. It's long as hell, and there is a lot of foul language. So watch it with your wife, not your kids.
Don't bring the children.
Yes. Boom. Next one. I think we're losing our man cards for probably the next maybe minute and 30 seconds. We're going to talk about this.
I don't care.
But I don't care either. We're very comfortable. We have wives. We have girls. So it's fine. But I did get this movie mainly for Mason's happiness. And I've seen this movie once or twice. It's good. rest in peace, Patrick Swayze. I loved him as an actor, and as a man, he's a very respectful guy. And also Jennifer Grey, you look nothing like Ferris Bueller days.
Yeah.
But Dirty Dancing. Dirty Dancing. It's a really good movie. It's just about a girl. Her parents are loaded. They go away to this summer cottage area, and she's interested in dancing. And Patrick Swayze's like the head dancer guy for all the shows at this summer away from home kind of place. And he's kind of he just teaches everyone stuff. Well, they kind of fall in love and
during the whole process. Yeah.
During the whole process. And I always thought that Jennifer Grey's sister in the movie was so annoying, and how she would sing. And I'm like, oh my god!
I wish she was in Casino.
I know. Could we whack her, please? Because she happened to just jump in front of traffic. That movie makes it a little annoying with her in it, because her role is just awful. Mm-hmm. But did you see this movie?
Yes.
What did you think?
My favorite character, which you didn't even mention, the great late Jerry Orbach.
Yeah.
He put his baby in a corner, but then Patrick Swayze told him not to.
Jerry Orbach, he's a good actor. I liked him a lot.
I mean, like you said, it's more of a girl movie, but I mean, it's a classic, and I mean, if you're looking to own all the top movies on Blu-ray, you gotta have this in your collection.
It's a classic. It's a good rom-com. I mean, if you have this movie and some chick comes over to your place for the first time and she sees this, two things are gonna happen. Two things could happen. A, she thinks you're homosexual, which is fine. Two, she will take your pants off, and the rest is history.
I mean, flip of a coin.
The rest is history. Am I wrong?
I mean, it's true. It's truth.
I'm not wrong. So it could be a win or loss for you if you have this in your little repertoire of movies next to your hopefully big screen television when she comes over. But great movie. Patrick Swayze, love him. So sad he died. What an awful time. When he passed away, he's such a nice guy and worked his body to the bone, always was in shape, and then just dead. It's makes no sense. The next one, I wanted to put this in last week's, I wanted to put this really bad in last week's update because it was more close to Halloween, but I didn't get it till this week, and, the person I bought it from, very pissed off, took like a week and a half to get to my home. So, a little annoyed. But I'm still going to share this with you because I'm not going to wait till next year. But Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, came out in 95. This movie, I guess it was right after probably the fifth movie. So, Halloween 5, I think, came out 90 or 89, 91. Yeah. And then this was the next one. So, this one, I think, out of all the Halloweens in chronology, this was the first one not to have a number in the movie, so it wasn't like Halloween 6. Now, there's been Halloween Resurrection, Halloween H2O, so that's different. But this was the first one not to have a number in it. And I remember thinking when I was a kid, and I was probably I was probably 8 or 9 when this came out, and I remember that I was really scared of this movie. But this, I have to say, out of all the shapes that play Michael Myers, this was my least favorite shape, and as in the actor or stuntman who played Michael Myers physically. It was George Wilbur, and I thought he was too wide. I didn't think he was real long, lean, kind of jacked most of the Michael Myers are, and I have a problem with that, and I hated his mask in this movie. Because the actual mask was William Shatner's face from Captain Kirk, and then they just bleached it white and put some hair on him, and that can be only seen in the first and second movie.
Yeah.
All the other movies, they don't have it, and that's because Nick Castle, the first guy to play the shape in the first movie, he ruined it, because he put it in his pocket and just walked around with it and just rubbed it in his jeans, and he didn't take care of it. It's thanks a lot. But you did bring us Dennis the Menace, so that's fine.
Yes.
But so it sucks that it's not the actual mask. So it just looks like shit in this movie. But it's actually a pretty good movie. There's a huge kill count. I think the body count's 32. So there's a lot of death. It's a lot of great scares. And this is Paul Rudd's first movie. And people will say, well, I thought it was Clueless. No, this movie was out and done with production before Clueless. So this is Paul Rudd's...
It's a year ahead of that.
Right, yeah. So this is Paul Rudd's debut film. And he's a great actor. I think he's hysterical. But, and this, I think, was Donald Pleasance's last movie, who was Dr. Loomis. And, I just think Malcolm McDowell did okay in the new Rob Zombie as Dr. Loomis. But, Donald Pleasance was just great. I really liked him. Did you see this movie?
Yeah, I thought it was... I mean, it's not my favorite, of course, but I mean...
It's decent.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
A lot of death.
If you're a person that has to have every part of every movie. Like if you have to have all the Rockies or all the Rambos and
Right.
all the Halloweens, you need
to have this one. Yeah, it's just a great one. It really is. I mean, Halloween 3 is awful. Halloween Resurrection is awful.
I like H2O.
I loved H2O. I love H2O.
I
I thought Josh Hartnett was great in that movie,
Mm-hmm.
and Jamie Lee was great. And I love that his head right off, and that at the end of it, it was awesome.
Yeah, that was
so
good.
badass because he's like reaching, and all of a sudden, that was great. But this is actually a good movie. But did not like the shape and did not like his mask. So if that bothers you so much with your Halloween series and your affinity for it, maybe that might bother you too much. I don't know. Next one. Same thing on the lines of Dirty Dancing. Again, neither of us care.
I don't think this one's as bad as the Dirty Dancing.
You
lines.
could be right. You could be right. But Jim Dobb doesn't care, so I don't care. I'm following my man today. I don't care either. But How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Classic.
Tell me. Talk to me, Goose.
The beautiful Kate Hudson.
Oh, beautiful.
She is a reporter for a magazine, and they're having her do this article on How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. And so,
great article.
And I did she start the movie trying to do that, or did they? I haven't seen this in a while.
I don't think.
But no, so she finds Matthew McConaughey, and so she starts dating him.
Hey, baby.
Yeah, the whole Matthew McConaughey thing.
Wow. Okay.
And
Kate Hudson's coming to me. All right.
yes.
Okay.
Can I finish now?
Apologize.
Apology accepted. Okay. Well, anyway, so she starts dating Matthew McConaughey, and she starts trying to, she goes through this mix of emotions. Like she's almost like crazy, where she's trying to get him to fall in love with her, and then he does, and then she does something crazy to make him want to go away.
Love Fern. Let it die. Hysterical.
And so, pretty much that's the basis of the movie, and if you've seen this, I mean, it's not like it's a spoiler. This has been around for a long time. They end up together finally in the end, but of course some shit happens in the middle of it to get to that point.
But it's a goofy movie, and it was one of those movies.
A lot of laughs.
I remember it came out in that trailers back when I was younger. I'm like, this movie's gonna suck. I'm staying corrected. It was great. I really liked it. And it's not so bad. It's not that much of a rom-com, but it's funny as hell. It really is funny.
No, the chemistry between these two is just hilarious.
It is
especially when they're on the phone.
Yes.
Anytime they're on the phone in the movie, and then they're with their friends. Like he's with his friends, she's with her friends, and just their facial expressions when they're having these phone conversations is the best part of the movie.
Yeah,
I think.
it's great. And Matthew McConaughey plays the same character in every movie. Suave, cool, and has no responsibility. Next one. We're going to do a little duo. Now, if you remember a couple months ago, I did a little Ace Ventura duo. Well, that's what we're going to do right now. Iron Man 1 and 2. I did buy Iron Man 3, but it has not come yet. And you're like, well, why didn't I do all three? I don't know. I just decided to show it today. So, what can you say about Iron Man?
I mean, Iron Man, the first. You just want me to talk about
Go
the first
one,
one?
then we'll go two.
It's the best one in the series by far. And it's the movie that started off this whole Marvel Avengers thing. That now they have the TV show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Thor, Hulk, Captain America, and it's pretty much I think it resurrected Robert Downey Jr.'s career.
Oh yeah, saved his life from more cocaine trouble.
Yeah, and so he's Tony Stark Iron Man, and he gets. He develops weapons, and there's a whole backstory that goes with all these other Marvel.
Jeff Bridges is a dickbag.
Yes, he was the best villain, I think, too, by the way.
Yes, he was very good.
And he ends up having to keep like this glowy thing to keep metal straps out of his heart. And then he develops like Iron Man and just becomes the superhero, the legend.
I loved how he became Iron Man in the first one when he was in the Middle Eastern country and he was in that cave. And they were like surrounding him, and he just all of a sudden like just becomes it. Yeah. And he doesn't have his colors yet, like the maroon and the red and the
he's just
the
like
gold.
this big
just
like
this
metal
big
clunker,
metal steel color, and it was just so badass. Now the first one's fantastic, fantastic, and I'll get to what I don't like about both of them. But let's talk about the second one quick. Mickey Rourke. He just rode that train of fame for just about 3 years. When he did The Wrestler,
after The Wrestler, yeah,
he looked like a woman had awful plastic surgery, but he was all right. The rest was a good flick. I liked it, but like he was in everything for like 3 years. Now where's he at now? Nowhere.
Yeah, he was in The Expendables as well.
Right.
Yeah,
people
he rode that as long as
people got kind of tired of him. I just like, all right, Mickey, like. Cool. Now go back to wherever you live. But he was in this movie and he like showed up during that Formula One race and just snapped the cars in half with his powers. And it was just like, okay, what a push. But Jeff Bridges was actually creepy. Like, he was actually cool.
Yeah.
But I thought, I wasn't really scared of Mickey Rourke. And I'm not a big Don Cheadle fan. I don't know, I get a little annoyed with him.
I didn't like the switch after Terrence Howard.
Right. It's like, who the hell are you, Don? Like, I don't know who you are. Oh, you're Terrence Howard's character? That's unacceptable.
No.
I just did not like the second one that much. I love Scarlett Johansson. I love her. I love her outfit.
She was introduced in that movie. Yeah.
Loved her in that part. But yeah, like Jim Bob said, I think Jeff Bridges was the best villain, definitely over what's the guy, Sir Ben Kingsley. Third one.
I mean, and giving that away, he's not really the villain there,
right? But
I'm not going to say anymore yet.
You think so? And I'm just like, no.
Yeah.
No, thank you. But the second one's not very good either, but the first one's really good.
Third one's better than the second, but the first is still the best.
Right. And just to re-reference, one thing I don't like about this, and I've said this in my Most Annoying Actresses video that you can check out if you subscribe to my channel, is I don't like Gwyneth Paltrow. I've never liked her. I find her annoying. She's in this. Awful casting. It could have been someone way better than her. Never liked her.
Yeah, she's just annoying.
All right. Just pick these up this week. And this is just awesome to own. You have to have this. If you're a sports guy, hockey guy, you have to have the best hockey movie ever made. I'm not talking about the Mighty Ducks. I wish I was, but they haven't made it on Blu-ray yet. But Slapshot will have to do for now. Slapshot's such a classic, a late 70s classic. Jim Bob loves it. I love it. There's so many quotable lines. Every hockey player that's ever put on skates has seen this movie. And
any hockey fan too.
Yeah.
I mean, if you haven't, then you're crazy. You
right.
need to go see this movie.
It is a true classic, and I just love that Paul Newman took this role. And I heard he was kind of douchebag about the whole filming because he's such like a big deal. But I heard he was kind of a pain in the ass in the movie. But just a great movie about the Charlestown Chiefs, who are loosely based on the Johnstown Chiefs. And they're run by Milltown, and all their money is pretty much thanks to like the guys who work at the mill. But the mill goes on strike, so no one's no one's paying for them anymore. No one's going to the games. No one has money, so they have to become like an enforcing type team who fight a lot, or they have to start winning, and they happen to just start doing both. So a lot of good things occur because of them trying to change their ways because of the whole mill shutting down in their local town. But just a very funny movie. The Hanson brothers, they're so volatile. They're lunatics. They hit everybody. They put foil on their knuckles just to like make more pain occur to somebody. It's crazy if you're fighting someone like that. But what did you think of this movie?
I mean, it's a classic. It's one of those movies where like it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere at times, but you're okay with that because it's just so funny. But I mean, out of 5 stars, that gets like 4.5.
Yeah,
easily.
Yeah, and one of the characters in this movie that's always forgotten, that's so funny, is Morris. Do you remember Morris, the real pervert type guy, where he's like, "How about some snatch in the FLA?" Like he's the best. I call him massage parlor. That guy's so great because he's such a pervert, and he doesn't give a shit. He's just who he is. I love that. I appreciate someone who's that volatile, but also very cool and true to himself. But this movie's great. You gotta check this out.
And I forget what the song is in this movie, but they play it about like 5 times.
Maxine Nightingale. Yeah. It's all right.
Yeah, that song's played like if you don't like that song, you're gonna hate this movie just because they play it like 5 times.
It's like, can you maybe is the soundtrack only one song? Yes. Okay, gotcha. But classic, gotta check it out. And along with this also is a little Velcro open different years of movies, so that was pretty cool to get something like that. And the movie's just obviously a slipcase. So the next one, also a slipcase, that was for the 70s, this is for the 80s, Weird Science. This 80s classic, like you have to see this movie. Anthony Michael Hall here, and you have, and what's his name? Shit, I always forget his name. Ian Michael Smith, sorry about that. And obviously the very beautiful Kelly LeBrock.
Of course.
These two guys are nerds in school. They're definitely virgins. All they want to do is just make out with a chick, let alone sleep with them. And they just want to be cool. So they're both nerds, computer nerds, and they figured out how to make a woman on their computer. And that's who shows up. And she loves these two. Like openly is like, I want to make out right now, which is like, that's awesome. High school makeout's nothing better than high school makeout.
Of course.
I love it. So they pretty much become gods in the school because they like bring her all over the place. They bring her to the mall. They have parties with her. They take her to school, and she's just like gorgeous. And everyone's like, "How do you know these speds?" And she's like, "Oh, these are my lovers." And they're like, "What? Like these two?" And Bill Paxton is Ian Michael Smith's brother. I absolutely loved him in this movie. He played Chet. And he was such an asshole. Your typical army asshole who's the older brother who wants his little brother to do push-ups every morning. And he's just a complete dickhead. And I loved when Ian Michael Smith makes him breakfast and Bill Paxton looks at it and he goes, "You spitting this?" And the way he says it's so funny. Like, and it cracks me up every time because Bill Paxton's such a dick. And
he plays it well.
He plays it real well. But a great movie, and also the aforementioned Robert Downey Jr.'s in this movie, and he's a dick in this movie, and he was good, and you'll really like this movie. But if you want to know a little fun fact, Anthony Michael Hall, he's still acting. He was in that Dark Knight not that long ago. That was pretty cool to see him again. But this guy here, Ian Michael Smith, he just did a few things, and now he's a college professor. He's a PhD. He doesn't do any acting. Now I teach. So
wild,
he ran away from the whole he ran away from the fame thing. He still does like Comic Cons and autograph type sessions, excuse me. And like I don't know if he does like Monster Mania or anything, but he does do like acting autograph stuff. So he still does that, but he doesn't do any acting. He's just a teacher. But it's a great movie, and you got to see it. It's so funny. But that is all the movies for November 9th Blu-ray update. Always love doing these, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I want to thank Mr. Jim Bob over here for being a part of the video.
Pleasure to be here for my first Blu-ray update. Hope to be here for more.
It's the greatest 2 cents possible. The greatest 2 cents around. But until then, you take it easy and...
Okay, bye.